Should you spend that whopping $190 price tag on the new GT Cut 3s, or should you save a little guap and snag those GT Cut Academies? Let's talk about it. What is good, YouTube? It is your boy Stash Trooper, and today we are comparing head-to-head the GT Cut 3s versus the budget model, the GT Cut Academies. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Off rip, let's compare the traction. The GT Cut 3s feature this herringbone-like, zigzag-like traction pattern that separates at the midfoot, and the materials it's made up of is this like semi-soft, traditional Nike rubber that's also translucent in both pods. And then in contrast, the GT Cut Academies feature a similar zigzag-like traction pattern that's somewhat compared to like someone in my comments compared it to like, I think it was the tread on a tire. Let me know if that comment is factual or if he's capping. But the material of the GT Cut Academies are not translucent, and they are in fact a little bit harder. So I think these are a little more fitting for outdoor use. Now, in regards to performance, let's talk about the GT Cut 3s real quick. If you've watched some other reviews, I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they've been bad, some people say they've been good. But from my personal experience, after breaking them in a little bit, they performed amazing. I usually play on a pretty dusty court, and even with the dust and the translucent outsole, a little bit of wipage, the traction was absolutely phenomenal. So no complaints in that department. The traction on the GT Cut Academies also felt pretty phenomenal. I had no slippage at all. Again, played on that dusty court, felt amazing. No complaints in either department. So overall, I think in the traction department, the winner just by a little bit is the GT Cut 3s. Slightly grippier, slightly softer rubber, which in my opinion is better for indoor use. Therefore, this is the winner. But something I do want to say is if you're talking about outdoor use, I would easily say for traction, GT Cut Academies would be way better fitting just simply due to that slightly deeper traction grooves and that super hard rubber. Now let's talk about that cushion. The GT Cut 3s feature this tech that has simply never been used in a basketball shoe before. This technology has only been used in running shoes. And what technology is that? You're probably asking in your head if you don't already know or you can't read. It is in fact the Zoom X. So in these, they feature a full-length Zoom X. You'd think they'd maybe sprinkle it in if it's the first hoop shoe they're using it in, but they said no, let's go all out, balls deep. Now, the reviews on these have been pretty mixed. I've heard some people complain and actually not like the Zoom X, which I don't know what the hell you're thinking. I think some people aren't giving it the chance after breaking it in. In my personal opinion, it did take a little bit of breaking in, but after that breaking in, oh my goodness. If I had to compare it to another hoop shoe, I would say it's similar to the crackwyd 10s with just slightly less bounce. If you guys don't know, crackwyd 10s, in my opinion, best cushioning setup on a basketball shoe. So to summarize, overall phenomenal, just could use a little extra bounce. Now for the GT Cut Academies, they feature this Zoom Air unit in the forefoot alongside two types of foam in the midsole. What types of foam? I have no clue. For some reason, Nike decided to keep that confidential and not let us know. For a budget shoe, I'd say the cushion setup felt amazing, but there's only so much they could do with that $95 budget. Felt a little bit stiff, but provided great court feel. And again, for 95 bucks, it is pretty cracked. So in conclusion, the GT Cut 3s versus the GT Cut Academies in regards to the cushion, I would easily say that the GT Cut 3s sweep them in this round. With that full-length Zoom X, there's really just no competing. And if I'm being honest with you, I think that's the biggest budget cut is if you're halving the price, you got to cut some things down. I think that was definitely the cushion in the GT Cut Academies. Now let's talk about that support. Firstly, the GT Cut 3s feature this lateral TPU piece in the forefoot alongside some flywire to add some of that mucho support in the front of your foot. On top of this, they feature this shank plate at the bottom for extra support alongside a heel counter. Overall, a pretty cracked, simple support setup. And on top of this, I also include fit in this section, and I would say these 100% fit true to size, no doubt about it. Now for the GT Cut Academies, it's actually a really similar setup. In the forefoot, it features this rubber fin, very similar to the lateral TPU piece right here, alongside some stitching, which is kind of like some fly wire. And on top of this, it does feature a heel counter in the back, just no shank plate in the bottom. And in my opinion, these do fit true to size. If anything, just like maybe a quarter size snug. So if you like your basketball shoes slightly tight, I'd say go true to size. But if you like them slightly bigger, I'd say go a half size up. So in conclusion, I'm gonna keep this one brief. I would say both shoes provided very good lockdown, felt very secure on foot. Now, while the GT Cut 3s did have a little bit more tech, I will say that there was no real noticeable difference between the two. So overall, I'm gonna go ahead and say, in regards to the support, the GT Cut Academies and the GT, did I just call these the Academies? So in conclusion, I will say that the GT Cut 3s and the GT Cut Academies get a tie in regards to support. Now let's talk about that materials. The GT Cut 3s feature this insanely lightweight textile upper, which, oh my goodness, I love. Insanely breathable and feels absolutely amazing on foot. On top of that, you guys know the technology that I talked about in regards to the TPU. I do not need to cover that again. But then for the outsole, again, like I said earlier, traditional semi-soft translucent Nike rubber. Let's not yap anymore. Now for the GT Cut Academies, again, let's remind you guys, for 95 bucks. 95 bucks. For 95 bucks, this is the best you're gonna get. These babies feature a heavier textile upper on top, alongside a little bit of leather accenting on the lace lock and in the heel counter. I will say less breathable than the GT Cut 3s, but more secure just in regards to the upper support. And then on top of this, like I mentioned earlier, harder rubber on the bottom, better for outdoor use. So overall, in conclusion, I will say, again, price difference, it really shows. The GT Cut 3s really just have much better materials. But something I will say, like I've been saying this whole time, the GT Cut Academies are low-key better for outdoor use. Between the lightweight upper and semi-soft rubber outsole, these really wouldn't be that good outdoors, and you're spending $190 to destroy them outdoors. What are you thinking? But with the GT Cut Academies, 95 bucks, you could destroy them outside and they will last longer. Better for outdoor use, better for indoor use. But we're talking about just quality materials, 100 times better. Now let's talk about the look slash swag. In this section, I just talk about the silhouettes of the shoes, the colorways in hand, and then the colorways currently available on the market. Now for the GT Cut 3s, I am honestly a big fan of the silhouette. In my opinion, these kind of look like a pack-a-punched modern version of the GT Cut 1s, which are one of the cleanest basketball shoes of all time. So overall, huge fan. The colorway in hand is what I like to call the Cardinal, but Nike just called it like the white and red. It was the first colorway that came out, so I was just eager to get them, but I do think there are other colorways currently available that are a lot cleaner. Speaking of, the other colorways currently available right now are the purple colorway. It's like purple and gray. I honestly might return these and get those. Super, super clean. And then the green and like tan or green and gray colorway, that's also, in my opinion, a little bit cleaner than these. On top of this, they have some other colorways that are really cool coming out, but again, they're not out yet, so I'm not gonna mention it. But let's move these to the side, talk about these babies. The GT Cut Academies have a very, very similar silhouette to the GT Cut 3s, as you can see. I think they did that intentionally to make this like a budget version of this shoe. But no surprise, I also am a big fan of the silhouette. The colorway in hand is what they call the black and green colorway, but I like to call them the green beans. The other colorways currently available right now are the all white colorway, the purple and gray colorway, and then I want to say there's also a white and red colorway currently available. Let me know down below which is the cleanest. In my opinion, green beans got my heart. So in conclusion, I really think this is a really, really close battle because of how similar they are. But in my opinion, this is literally just a simplified version of this shoe. Therefore, I'm going to have to give the look slash swag to the GT Cut 3s. Let me know down below if I made the right decision, because again, this is very subjective. This isn't objective like the other measures. This is very like personal opinion type based. But in my opinion, GT Cut 3s. Now lastly, we're going to talk about the weight. In this section, I don't bring out a scale and start weighing them and talk about ounces and pounds and metric systems. Instead, I'm going to keep it simple, tell you how it felt on foot and in hand. And let me feel it right now. Not much of a difference. I'll give it a tie. So surprise, surprise, the GT Cut 3s win.
Oh my god, how did 190 shoe beat a $95 shoe?
I know you guys are probably not surprised. Literally 190 bucks compared to 95 bucks. There's only so much they can do to make this shoe as good as this one, and the $190 is the reason it's not. These shoes are easily way better, but hold up, these are still phenomenal. I think the GT Cut Academies are an absolutely phenomenal budget shoe. If you want a more in-depth review, again, I have full-length reviews on both of these. But again, this is an amazing budget shoe. In my opinion, if you don't have $190 to spend on hoop shoes. You don't have to get these. Stand on these, $95. On top of that, if you're looking for an outdoor hoop shoe, I would easily say do not get these. If you're looking for a summer hoop shoe to destroy outside, get the GT Cut Academies with that harder rubber, the heavier outs. Did I just call this an outsole? With the heavier rubber and thicker upper, these are easily more fitting for the outdoor use. So if you don't have that much money or you want an outdoor shoe, I would say go with these. But if you have that $190, if you're a big spender, if you got that, go snag you a pair of GT Cut 3s. So bang, man, that's just about it. I hope you guys liked the video, the comparison. Let me know down below if there are any other shoes you would like me to put head to head. I know you guys typically like the versus more than most other videos. I appreciate y'all for watching this far, because not a lot of people do. If you could like, comment, subscribe, I would appreciate it immensely. Trying to hit that 20K mark, please, by the end of the month. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. Hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to do my best to. Adios.